everybody, this is Christina from Brush and Bristle Studio. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. I'm going to go over how to use the 15-ounce skinny tumbler mock-up. To get started, you're going to want to open this in Photoshop or in Photopea. I'm going to go over how to use it in Photoshop in this first part of the tutorial. The second part, I'm going to go over it in Photopea, but I'm only going to go over the differences in Photopea, and there's really not a big one. So if you're going to use Photopea, please make sure you're still watching the Photoshop portion of this tutorial. Alright, so once you have this open in Photoshop, you're going to go down to these red tabbed layers. These are going to be your smart object layers. So you're going to want to double click on this thumbnail right here, and it's going to open up your smart object document. Now you want to navigate to the file that you want to mock up. We're going to use this one. You're going to want to copy and paste this into your smart object document. So to do that, you're going to hit Control A, or you can grab this marquee tool right here and drag and drop it, and you'll see the marching ants all around the border of the canvas. Once you see that, you can press Control C or go Edit, Copy, and then you can close out of this, and you're going to want to press Control V or go Edit, Paste. If your design does not fit this canvas, then you can hit Control T or go to Edit, Free Transform, and you'll see these little anchor points around your design. Now you can drag and drop them, and as you see, the dimensions are all linked. If you don't want yours linked, you can go right up here, and you see this little link is highlighted. You can check that, and it'll unlink the dimensions. Another thing you can do to make it quicker, instead of coming up here to press that button every time, you can just hold Shift and then drag and drop, and it does the same thing. So once you have that sized how you need it, hit this check mark or press Enter, and then you can hit Control S or go to File, Save. And as you see, it's finished saving, so we're going to go over to the main document now, and it's updated to all three tumblers. Now, a couple things that you can do to make this more your own. I have this set up really as like the left tumbler, the center tumbler, and the right tumbler. So you can mess with the lids and straws, and you've got the left, center, right. And if you drop that down, you'll see you've got a bent metal straw, a metal straw, and a plastic straw. And this metal straw and this plastic straw are straight. So as you see, it's like that. But if you notice, the shadow is still for a bent. So you're going to want to go down to the shadows layer group, and you'll see straw object shadows. And then again, you see left, center, right. And then you'll see bent straw shadows and straight shadows. So you'll hide that visibility, and then you'll make this layer group visible. So as you can see, a little bit of a shadow back there. We're going to turn that back on though. But you'll do that for each tumbler. But I just like to give you guys the options. Then let's see. You've also got bottom shadows here, and I have these kind of light, so you can't really see them right now. If we take this up, you'll see them a little bit more. Now, this right here is your blending option, and you don't want to mess with the blending option, but feel free to mess with the opacity and the fill on this to get it as dark or as light as you want it. You can also, let me crank that back up really fast. If you go to the Move tool, you can move these up and down, to the side, whatever you want to do for your design, whatever you think feels best. Then we've got your Tumbler. This is Tumbler highlights and shadows. You've got a glossy overcoat, highlights, and shading. It's going to be just like the bottom shadows I showed you just a second ago. You don't want to mess with the hard, with the blending options on here, because depending on the blending option you mess with, it can actually change the coloring of your design, and you don't want to do that. So leave those alone, but you can mess with the opacity and the fill. So if you want to make this less intense, you can do that. Same goes with the highlights. You can make it less intense, more intense. And the shading right now is set to maximum, but you can always take it down. You also have this extra highlights and shadows, which I just used a couple filters to try and help make the designs pop a little bit. So if you turn that on, you see it just adds a little bit something. So you've got a brightness contrast filter and a vibrance filter here. And if you want to play with these, you can. You just double click on that icon right there, and it's going to open up the panel associated with it. So like this one's the brightness contrast. As you see, you just drag and drop, but it applies to the entire document. So it'll mess with your backgrounds, it'll mess with the lids, it'll mess with the design, everything. So you really need to be careful not to go too crazy, because it will affect everything in the mock-up. The last thing I want to go over is the backgrounds. Now, I give you 8 backgrounds out of the box, and I'll show you these really fast. I just wanted to give you something to start with. If you're like brand spanking new, you don't have any set look for your shop yet or anything, you feel free to use those. I also have this color feature set up for the white shimmer. So if you toggle this visibility on, and then just like up above, you're going to double click this adjustment layer, and it'll pull up your hue saturation panel. And you want to make sure that this colorize box is checked, because if it's not, I don't know if you can see that well right there, but if you uncheck it, it won't work. So make sure it's checked. Now you can make it lighter or darker. You can make it more saturated, less saturated, and then of course change the color to whatever color you need it to be. Just tries to give you a little bit of flexibility with your mock-up to match your designs. But I think that's everything that I've gotten here for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. But I will continue the Photopea portion in just a second. I'll see y'all in just a second. Okay guys, so now I'm going to go over how to use the mockup in Photopea. Now Photopea is a free software that you can use in any web browser. You can use it on a PC or on a smart device such as an iPad or even a phone. It's very similar to Photoshop. I think it's even better than some other paid art programs out there, just because of some of the tools that you have access to that you don't have available in some of the other ones. One thing that I use in most of my mock-ups is a warp feature to give that wraparound effect, and the smart objects. And in some of those programs like Affinity, you can't use my mock-ups in there because they don't have those tools available. So I highly recommend Photopea as a cheap or free version of an art program if you are not paying for anything right now. So you get to Photopea by going to photopea.com. And once you're there, you can go to Open from Computer. And if you navigate to the file, it'll open up in just a second. And as I said earlier, it's going to be pretty much the exact same as Photoshop. You've still got access to the blending options, the opacity, the fill for all your shadows and highlights and all that stuff. Even with the, extra highlights and with the color changing and the double clicking of those icons, you still can do all that. So really nothing with that has changed. The only difference is with loading in and saving the smart object. So look for those red tabs again, double click on the thumbnail, and it's going to open the document. Now we're going to go to File, and instead of clicking Open, we're going to hit Open in Place and go to the file that you're going to mock up. And as you see, it automatically copied, pasted, and set to free transform. So it's already got the anchor points for you to do your dealio with. And it even has the same thing where if you want to hold down Shift and drag and drop, you can do that without constraining the dimensions, or without linking the dimensions of the design. Once you're happy with it, go ahead and hit that check mark up here. And then you're going to want to save this. Now you can hit Control S to save, or you can go to File and you're going to hit Save Smart Object. Smart Object updated. So go back to the main document, and as you see, there it is. So as I said, not very much is different with it in Photopea as Photoshop. It's just a slight little change. But if you guys have any questions or if you need help with anything, please feel free to reach out to me. You can comment below, or you can send me a message in my Etsy shop. I'm always happy to help. I want you guys to be happy with your mock-ups. So if you need anything, just let me know. But I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and enjoy your mock-ups even more. Hope you guys have a great day.